Hi, everyone. Welcome to functional training. This is week 2 of the fall semester. We're going to get started here with a nice warm up. So everyone's going to be standing up. Make sure you have plenty of room all around you. So let's get going. All right. So we're going to start with a lunge, pivot, and reach. It's going to open up the hip mobilization. So you're going to start exaggerated lunge position. And if your right foot is in front, you're going to take your left arm. And as you go down, halfway down, you're going to reach across your body. And then you're going to pivot the feet facing the other direction. Opposite arm, slight reach across the body. All you're doing from this angle is a slight reach. You're not trying to touch anything. It's not a full pull. It's just a slight reach on the way down. Let's continue that movement. Pivot helps with the balance and the footwork. Great stretch for the hip flexors. Try to stay nice and low, so your legs are constantly bent. You're never fully extending up. You're staying in a nice, strong, athletic stance. We'll go one more. Switching to this position here, so exaggerated kind of sumo squat position. And you're going to shift your weight left or right. It's a good dynamic stretch. The lower body, extending that outside leg. And now we're going to try to touch the floor. Force yourself to go a little lower. And we're going to continue back to our first stretch in the lunge position, the reach. You'll start to feel your lower body burning a bit now because you're constantly in a low position. So isometric contractions, not static hold, burning the whole time. 3, 2, one more. And okay, excellent. And now we're going to work our way down to the floor. We're going to warm up the glutes. We're going to do some bridge variations. So for glute bridge, lying down on your back, planting the feet firmly on the floor, dig in those heels. Hands can be off to the sides, or you can dig your elbow into the ground, whichever is more comfortable. And we're going to start, instead of thrusting the hips up and down, only go a few inches off the ground. So about a fist height, holding that position. And just keep holding it. Now actively engage the glutes. Flex, contract those muscles, squeeze them nice and tight. And what we're going to do is we're going to lift our left foot off the ground, keeping that knee bent. Keeping the hips level, so you're not tipping to one side overly. And without dropping your body to the floor, transition. So switch sides. Constantly squeezing that whole time, nice and tight. Switch again. If you want, you can try to reach that other foot to the ceiling. Stretch out the hamstrings, point the toes straight up, and switch. So about 5 seconds per side. We'll go a couple more here. Again, you're not going too high, just a few inches off the ground. Both feet down. Good, now drop, relax for a second. Pull those knees in to the chest. Tip your weight back and forth, left to right. Okay, feet back down on the floor. Lifting up. And we'll do a little quicker march. So it's foot up, down. Squeeze that glutes. Each time you do the march. Three, 2, 1. Dropping down. Slowly sit up. And done. Okay, slowly stand up, quick drink of water. That was our warm up. And we're going to start with a couple weights. So if you have some hand weights, go ahead and grab those. And we'll get started in 30 seconds. So last week was week 1 of our functional training workout. So what we do is we try to incorporate a lot of multi-direction and multi-joint movements. So you want to incorporate some multitasking while balancing and working your coordination. So we're going to do a single-legged bench over row. A lot of balance here, upper body, lower body, a little bit of everything. So what you want to do, make sure you have room behind you. You're going to have your support foot, so your right foot slightly bent, and you're going to extend the back leg out. And we're going to try to perform 10 rows in this position. So you're going to get a lot of contraction in the glutes and the hamstrings, as well as the quads in that isometric hold, because it's going to support you and balance the whole time. But you also want to keep in mind, it's also an upper body exercise, so you need to have the correct form while performing the upper body movements without losing balance. Okay, and you want that back leg to be extended and lifted as high as you can while you're performing the row. So there's a lot going on here at once. So it's a quality over quantity exercise for sure. Okay, so here we go. Down and start your row, keeping nice and still, squeezing your shoulder blades together on the pull. And 10. Great. Other side. Okay, so left foot is your support. Right leg is extended out behind. Ready? And row. And 10. Okay, excellent. So we're going to set those weights down. We're going to do an active recovery. We're going to stay moving around. So kind of walk around the perimeter for about 30 seconds. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab those weights again. For the second set, we're going to get a little bit more complicated. So we're going to substitute one little thing here. So same idea. You're going to go down, perform the row, but then you're going to come back up. That's part 1. Once you came back up, you're going to take a big step behind you, curling the weights and pressing overhead. Okay, so there's a lot happening. So part 1 is the same thing we just did. So down, row, up, clean and press. So the idea is, instead of slow motion, which would be curl, down, overhead press, and return, it's all one clean, quick, powerful movement. So it's up, like so. Okay, so here we go. Down, row, up, overhead. Two more. Last one. And done. Okay. Couple breaths. Switching sides. Okay, for 5, here we go. down, row, return, overhead, down, row, up, let's go one more. And complete. Okay, awesome. Put those weights down. After recovery, we're going to take 1 minute plus a water break if you need to. Stay moving. So try not to sit down. Okay, now we're going to go down to the floor, nice and slow. And just hold this position for a minute here. Being mindful of our breathing. Heart rate is going to come down a little bit. It's going to be maintained. Our target heart rate for our workout is still going to be elevated. But the movements that you're doing for the functional training really require a lot of focus and attention. And what's called proprioception. So when you're doing tasks that involve multitasking or balance, especially dynamic balance and coordination, really requires your attention to focus on that movement. You can't go through them with less quality. So you need to bring down the heart rate a little bit, as it's next to impossible to perform with good form and technique if your heart rate is too fast and you're kind of exhausted, right? Okay, so we're going to bring that down, do a couple mobility movements here, and we'll get back up and raise up the intensity again. Okay, so just in this kneeling position, half kneeling lunge, 90-degree angles with both sides, just some thoracic rotations here. So if it's your right foot in front, right hand goes right beside the foot on the floor. Take your other hand, rotate and point it towards the ceiling. And bring it back down for a second. And open it again, rotate and hold. Once more, down, rotate, hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, and done. Switching sides. So it's the left hand now, inside, rotate. And down. So you might notice, besides a little bit of the balance that is required while performing this movement, there's a muscle here called your QL, and it kind of goes from the glute area up towards the ribs. You'll feel a bit of a stretch there, and a lot of tightness occurs. This is a good stretch as well for that muscle. Down and hold, and back down, and slowly up. Deep breath. And we're standing. Excellent. Okay, now we're ready to go into more complex movements here. Okay, so this next one requires no weights. So you just need a lot of space. So make sure if your room hopefully is big enough to accommodate some lateral movement. That's what we're going to do. So this one is an explosive muscular endurance and power exercise, but a lot of balance is involved, and that's why we do this in our functional training workout. So we're going to do something called a skater hop or a skater stride, where you're shifting your weight laterally and you're focusing on the lateral movement, but it's actually the deceleration and the shock absorption, the landing, that we're actually trying to focus on here. So instead of doing this, where you're just kind of shifting your weight back and forth and you're using momentum to thrust left or right, that's a great exercise, maybe some good footwork and a lower body cardio exercise, but we want to focus more on that landing, nice and slow. That's where you're getting a lot more of that work, stabilization. Okay,
So you want to try to hold it for 3 seconds. So jump, land, 1, 3, again. Jump, 1, 2, 3. I touch the floor just to help with a little bit with the balance. Keep that going. 1, 2, 3. Couple more. And rest. Okay, stay moving. Quick active recovery before we go again. Okay, another round. Ready? Same thing. Stride. 3. 2 more. And done. Okay, quick water break. And you're going to need 1 hand weight. So go ahead and have 1 weight ready. Okay, down to the floor again. Halfway down, just in this lunge position. Just recover. It's tough to go from standing with your heart rate elevated right to the floor. When your limbs aren't moving and you're lying down, that blood has to go somewhere. And you can get to your head and you can feel dizzy, disoriented. If your heart rate is still quite high, it's important to just bring it down by doing some movements, transition halfway down to the floor, and then down to the floor, as opposed to just jumping to the floor. Okay, all right, so this next one is going to involve our final movement, which is the rotation. So this is the modified wood chop. We have many different variations. This is another one. So what you're doing, you're going to be in this position, in this lunge position behind you, lowering the weight down, rotating up. But same thing, keep the legs working the entire time. Try not to fully extend the legs. If you do that, you're resting them. The muscles aren't under the demand. You want to go down, and as you rotate the weight, stay in this strong athletic stance where you're in semi-extended lunge. Okay, so it's down, and as you rotate, you're using the hips. It's a torso rotation, so that power and movement is coming from this region, not from your shoulders. Keep the arms locked, down, rotate. Okay, let's do 7 more on this side. 1, 2. Switch. Ready? And same thing, opposite side, so down for 10. 9, 10. Okay, we don't need those weights anymore. Go ahead and throw those down. Active recovery here. Quick drink of water. And we're going to work our way down to the floor where we will finish. Okay. Down on the knee. Couple deep breaths. Okay. One more exercise that will work more upper body. Core is the modified version of the mountain climber, where we're doing the Spider-Man, which eliminates momentum, really focuses on the mobilization. You're getting some flexibility here while you are holding yourself up. Okay, so you're in a push-up position, hands about shoulder width apart, right underneath your upper body, up into a push-up position. Bring that one foot as close to that hand as possible and bring it back into that neutral position. Again, so up, return. Try to touch the knee to the elbow. We'll go 2 more. Hold, drop the knees, leaning back, sit up, 2 deep breaths. Great, okay, transition, sitting down. Okay, we're gonna do 2 different core exercises here. We're gonna go from our Russian twist to a figure 8 pattern. So what you're gonna do is in a V position like this, lifting your feet off the ground, hands by your chest, rotating just enough where you can touch the floor with your hands. Don't go any faster than this. So not that, okay? Touch, touch, back to middle. 1, 2. 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Drop the feet down. The figure 8, your hands are behind you, propping your weight up. Feet together. And just to show you, you're going to draw a figure 8 pattern with your feet. Pretend like you're drawing an 8 in one direction here. Lift the feet nice and high. Opposite direction. And relax. Into our stretches, okay? Butterfly stretch. We do a lot of lunge related movements. So we want to really work the hip flexors, adductors, glutes, everything lower body here. Elbows pressing slightly down on the knees. Focus on your breathing. Just trying to maintain normal breathing. Hurdler stretch. So one leg stays in on the butterfly, and then the other toe is pointing up and towards you without grabbing the foot. Just holding this position. Switching sides. Again, pointing the toe up and towards yourself, pressing slightly down on that knee, just a little bit, and hold. Keeping the right knee here, we're going to go into our pigeon pose stretches. So the one behind is slightly bent, leaning off to the side. So just kind of propping yourself up with this extended arm. You have a zigzag, kind of Z and Z here. So that's the introductory level 1 version. And then the other one, you want to try to extend your back leg and come up on top of the front leg. So you'll feel more of a glute outer thigh stretch. Drop it down, back to the first one. And then we're switching. So the other leg that's in front bent, the other one that's back bent as well. You'll feel a bit of a hip flexor stretch here as you lean to this propped arm. And then when you're ready, graduate, extend the back leg, come up on top of the front leg, and you'll feel that more. Dropping it down, back to the first one, hold. And then we're going to come up a little bit. So we do our hip flexor stretch and quad, 90-degree angle with both knees. Okay, we're going to do the reach that we do at the beginning, dynamic stretches. So leaning forward, put your right leg, take your left arm, and just kind of reach a little bit over the body. Try to find the right angle that works for you. You can lean back a bit, lean to one side, and you'll feel on the front. Return to the middle, relax for a second, and repeat. Leaning forward a bit more, reach and hold. Down and switch. Okay, so now it's the right arm leaning forward. So slight reach. Down, lean forward more, and reach. And we're back, sitting on the heels, reaching forward into the child's pose stretch to finish, relax. Hold that there. Sliding back, one deep breath into the nose, out through the mouth. And one more time. Sliding back. And done. Okay, great. All right, well, thank you everybody for joining functional training workout, whether live here or on IGTV and our YouTube channel after. Thank you so much for joining functional training. Have a great rest of the week. And be well, everyone.